Heartstrings in Harmony. An Alphabet Sweethearts Romance. Written by Susanne. Please like and subscribe. Chapter 1. Maddie. But Miss Fields, you promised Katie could do her drum solo. Jeremy's accusation cuts through the usual after-school chaos of my classroom. 23 pairs of eyes fix on me, waiting. The late afternoon sun slants through the high windows, catching dust motes stirred up by restless feet and half-packed instrument cases. I set down the pencil that serves as my conductor's baton, fighting to keep my expression neutral. The familiar weight of responsibility settles deeper into my shoulders. The concert program might need some adjustments. Because the famous singer cancelled? Sarah asks from behind her cello. My mom said she saw it on Facebook. She pulls out her phone, probably to check the post again. She said Ms. Hendrick got a better offer in Nashville. News travels fast in Juniper Falls, especially bad news. I resist the urge to tap my pencil against the music stand. It's a nervous habit I've never quite broken. We're exploring other options. Like what? Katie's voice is small, her drumsticks clutched tight against her band t-shirt. She's been practicing that solo for weeks, coming in early before school, staying late. I've watched her confidence grow with every session, seen her shoulders straighten every time she masters a new rhythm. The truth is, I have exactly one option left. His name is currently plastered across my laptop screen in an article about his temporary hiatus from touring. Alex Whitaker, back in Juniper Falls. The same Alex who once told me I played Mozart like a robot, then proceeded to turn Fur Elise into a rock ballad during our senior year talent show. Just thinking about him makes my fingers itch to straighten the already perfectly aligned sheet music on my stand. Miss Fields? Katie prompts. I force myself to focus on her hopeful face instead of 15-year-old memories. The show will go on, I say firmly. And yes, with your drum solo. I promise. Mr. Cohen pokes his head in from the science room next door. Everything okay in here? I thought I heard, he stops, reading the tension in the room. Ah. They heard about Hendrick? I nod, grateful when he steps fully into the classroom. The kids love him. Probably because he lets them conduct experiments that usually end in minor explosions. Well, he says, clapping his hands together, I suppose this means we'll have to come up with something even better. Right, gang? A few tentative nods answer him. In the back row, I notice Tyler exchanging worried whispers with his stand partner. His dad works at the lumber mill that announced layoffs. The same mill that usually buys a whole block of tickets to our charity concert. Speaking of better, I say, seizing the moment, let's run through that second movement again. Tyler, I want to really hear that trumpet solo this time. The kids scramble to their positions, and for the next 20 minutes, I lose myself in the familiar rhythm of conducting. But even as I guide them through the piece, my mind keeps circling back to that article. To Alex. Last I heard, he was selling out stadiums in Europe. But according to local gossip, he's been spotted around town this past week. Buying groceries at Brooks General Store. Getting coffee. Acting like he's just another local instead of a Grammy-winning rock star who left our small town in his rearview mirror years ago. The same rock star who might be my only chance at saving this concert. Much better. I tell the kids as they finish the movement. Tomorrow we'll. A knock at the door stops me. Hazel Elliott stands in the doorway, her silver hair catching the late afternoon light. She's holding what looks suspiciously like a newspaper clipping. Sorry to interrupt, dear, she says, though her smile suggests she's not sorry at all. But I thought you might want to see this. She waves the clipping. It seems our wandering musician has come home to roost. My stomach does a familiar flip. Of course Hazel would know. She probably knew he was back before he did. Okay, everyone, I call out, proud of how steady my voice sounds. Great rehearsal. Same time tomorrow. As the kids pack up, their chatter filling the room, I walk over to Hazel. She hands me the clipping without a word. There he is, in grainy newsprint. Alex Whitaker looks exactly like the kind of person who would turn Beethoven into rock and roll. His hair is longer than I remember, falling across his forehead in that carefully careless way that probably takes an hour to achieve. But his eyes are the same. That same mix of challenge and charm that used to drive me crazy during our piano duets. He's staying at his aunt's old place up by the lake, Hazel says casually. Too casually. The blue one, with the wraparound porch. I fold the clipping carefully, tuck it into my lesson planner. I don't need to know where he's staying. No? She raises an eyebrow. Then I suppose you have another headline act in mind for the charity concert? Sometimes I think Hazel has a network of spies throughout Juniper Falls. Or maybe she just knows everything because everyone tells her everything. I'll figure something out, I say, straightening a stack of sheet music that doesn't need straightening. I'm sure you will, dear. She pats my arm. I'm sure you will. The gravel crunches under my tires as I pull up to the blue house by the lake. Guitar music drifts from the wraparound porch. This isn't the hard rock that made Alex famous, but something softer. Sadder. Almost like the songs he used to write in high school, before record deals and Grammy nominations changed everything. I sit in my car, hands clenched around the steering wheel, and try to remember why this seemed like a good idea. Just ask, I mutter to myself, checking my reflection in the rearview mirror. The worst he can say is no. Except that's not true. The worst he can say is exactly what he said 15 years ago. That I'm too rigid, too controlled, too focused on playing everything exactly as written instead of feeling the music. The late afternoon sun turns the lake into hammered gold, a perfect backdrop for the prodigal Rockstar's temporary exile. Trust Alex to find the most photogenic spot in Juniper Falls for his break from the spotlight. The music stops abruptly when I step onto the porch. Alex looks up from his guitar, surprise flickering across his face before settling into that familiar half-smile. He's traded his stage clothes for worn jeans and a faded t-shirt, but somehow he still looks like he's performing. Maddie Fields. He sets the guitar aside, the movement deliberate. Still keeping perfect time? Still deflecting with bad jokes? The words slip out before I can stop them. 15 years, and he still has the ability to throw me off balance. Still knows exactly which buttons to push. He leans back in his chair, studying me with those two perceptive blue eyes. A coffee mug sits on the table beside him, next to a notebook filled with his messy scrawl. Something tells me this isn't a social call. The charity concert. I force myself to meet his gaze, ignoring the way my pulse quickens. Focus on Katie's hopeful face. On Tyler's dad and the mill layoffs. On the program that needs this funding. Our headliner dropped out. We need. No. He picks up his guitar again, fingers moving restlessly over the strings. The dismissal is casual, practiced. Like he's had plenty of experience saying no to people asking for favors. You haven't even heard what I'm asking. Small town charity show? Sweet but amateur? His tone is dismissive, but there's something else there. Something that makes me press on instead of retreating. I'm sure you'll find another act. Someone more suitable. The way he says suitable makes my teeth clench. That small town charity show funds our entire music program. I step closer, anger giving me courage. The wooden boards creak under my feet, and I catch a whiff of coffee and guitar strings. Scents that take me straight back to early morning practice sessions in the school music room. The same program that gave you your start. Or have you forgotten about Mrs. Harrison letting you practice in the music room every lunch hour? About the fundraiser she organized to buy you your first electric guitar? His fingers still on the strings. Low blow, Fields. Is it? Because from where I'm standing, you're the one who seems to have forgotten where you came from. I gesture toward the lake, the mountains beyond. A pair of ducks cut across the golden water, leaving ripples in their wake. This town believed in you. Supported you. And now when you need a quick fix for your program? He sets the guitar down harder than necessary, the sound reverberating through the quiet afternoon. I came here to get away from obligations, not collect new ones. Right. Because giving back to your community is such a burden. My voice cracks slightly on the last word, and I hate it. Hate that he can still affect me like this. Must be terrible, being asked to help inspire kids who dream about music the same way you used to. Something that looks an awful lot like regret flashes in his eyes. But his jaw remains set. You don't know anything about my dreams anymore, Maddie. No, I say quietly. I guess I don't. But I know Katie Anderson practices her drum solo every morning before school. I know Tyler Matthews plays trumpet with his dad's layoff notice sitting on their kitchen table. I know these kids need, I cut myself off, shaking my head. You know what? Forget it. Forget I asked. Maddie. His voice stops me at the steps. When I look back, he's running a hand through his hair. For a moment, I see the boy who used to sneak into the auditorium during lunch, who turned classical pieces into rock anthems just to make me laugh. I'll think about it. Don't strain yourself, I say, but my voice lacks its earlier heat. The anger drains away, leaving something sadder in its wake. Nice to see you haven't changed, Alex. Still playing everything on your own terms.
Chapter 2. Alex. The acoustic guitar feels wrong in my hands today. I've been sitting on this porch for 3 hours, and all I've managed is a dozen half-finished melodies that go nowhere. Maddie's words keep drowning out the music. This town believed in you. I set the guitar aside and grab my keys before I can talk myself out of it. The drive to Juniper Falls Middle School takes exactly 6 minutes. Some things never change. Though the ancient maple tree out front is taller now, its leaves turning gold at the edges. Music spills from the open windows of the music room. Not the polished sound I remember, but something rawer. More honest. I slip in through the side door, hanging back in the shadows of the instrument storage area. The same shelves still hold the same dented cases, though someone has labeled them with colorful tags. Okay, Katie, from the top. Maddie stands at the conductor's podium, her posture perfect as always. But there's a softness in her voice I don't remember from our school days. Remember what we talked about. Feel the rhythm, don't just count it. A girl with wild curls and determined eyes adjusts her grip on her drumsticks. The solo starts hesitantly, but builds confidence with each measure. It's not perfect. There's a stumbled beat here, or rushed fill there. But there's something compelling about her intensity. That's it. Maddie's encouragement carries over the drums. Let it breathe, Katie. Music isn't just notes on a page. I almost laugh out loud. How many times did I say those exact words to her? How many arguments did we have about structure versus feeling, about playing what's written versus playing what's real? The solo builds to a crescendo, and the rest of the band joins in. A trumpet emerges from the chaos. It sounds uncertain at first, then stronger. The kid playing it looks like he's carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders, but his notes soar anyway. Beautiful, Tyler. Maddie calls out. Now bring it home, everyone. They're rough around the edges. Amateur, like I told Maddie. But watching them play, seeing the pride on their faces when they nail a difficult passage. It reminds me of something I've been trying to forget. Something about why I started making music in the first place. My phone buzzes and I glance at it. Marcus, my manager, is calling, probably with another guilt trip about the canceled tour. I silence it and watch Maddie work with her students. She moves between them with practiced ease, adjusting an elbow here, demonstrating a rhythm there. Still precise, still structured, but there's joy in it now. A freedom I never noticed before. Miss Fields? Katie raises her hand. Can we try the ending again? I think I can hit that last fill better. Of course. Maddie's smile is warm, encouraging. Nothing like the rigid perfectionist I remember. Or maybe I never really looked hard enough to see past my own assumptions. I should leave. I came to Juniper Falls to escape, not to get tangled up in benefit concerts and old memories. But I stay rooted in place, watching Katie attack that drum fill again and again until she nails it. Watching Tyler close his eyes as he holds that high note, like he's trying to forget everything except the music. When the final bell rings and the kids start packing up, I slip out the same way I came in. But their music follows me, not the actual notes, but something deeper. Something that feels uncomfortably like purpose. Back at the lake house, I pick up my guitar again. This time, the melody comes easier. It's not stadium rock or carefully produced pop. It's something simpler. More honest. The kind of music I used to write before I learned to worry about chart rankings and ticket sales. My phone buzzes again. Marcus, of course. The label's breathing down my neck. Alex. We need to talk about the tour. I set the phone aside and start playing again, letting the new melody take shape. It's not quite right yet, but it's getting there. Like Katie's drum solo. Like Tyler's trumpet. Novel Sips feels smaller than I remember it from my last brief visit. Or maybe it's just that I'm used to bigger spaces. Like the stadiums, recording studios, and green rooms where I spent most of my time. I spot Maddie in the corner, surrounded by sheet music and what looks like a military campaign's worth of planning documents. You're late. She doesn't look up from her papers, but her pencil taps against the table in perfect quarter notes. Actually, I'm right on time. I slide into the chair across from her, setting my guitar case against the wall. You're just chronically early. That gets her attention. Her green eyes narrow slightly as she takes me in. You're doing the concert? With conditions. I reach for one of her papers. It's a detailed schedule broken down into 15-minute increments. She snatches it back before I can read it. First, I handle the arrangements. All of them. Absolutely not. She straightens the paper, aligning it perfectly with the others. These kids have been practicing for months. You can't turn their carefully structured performance into something people might actually want to watch. Color rises in her cheeks. Into something that strokes your ego, you mean? Into something that sells tickets. I lean forward, keeping my voice low despite the anger building in my chest. Isn't that the point? Raising money for your program? The point is giving these students a chance to shine. To show what they can do. They can do more. The memory of Katie's determination, Tyler's soaring trumpet notes, pushes me forward. You should hear what I'm thinking for that drum solo. If we layer in some strings, maybe add a bass line. No. She's using her teacher's voice now, the one that probably works wonders on middle schoolers. These are classical musicians, Alex. They don't need your Rockstar makeover. They're kids who love music. I pull out my notebook, flip to the melody I wrote after watching them practice. Kids who deserve a chance to try something different. Something that might actually speak to them. Like you spoke to me? Her voice catches slightly. When you turned my Mozart performance into a rock ballad without warning? Ah. There it is. The real reason for her resistance. That was 15 years ago, Maddie. And you haven't changed a bit. She starts gathering her papers, each movement precise and controlled. Still thinking you know better than everyone else. Still willing to take risks? I catch her wrist, stopping her mid-stack. Still believing music should be more than just notes on a page? She pulls away, but not before I feel her pulse racing under my fingers. Fine. You want collaboration? Prove it. Show me these brilliant arrangements you're planning. Let me see how you're going to revolutionize our little amateur show. The challenge in her voice sparks something in me. It's the same thing that made me want to shake up her perfect performances all those years ago. Tomorrow. Your classroom. I'll bring the arrangements, you bring an open mind. And if I don't like what I hear? Then you can go back to your original program. I stand up, grabbing my guitar case. But Maddie? You're going to like it. Her scoff follows me to the door. But as I leave, I catch her pulling my notebook toward her, studying the melody I wrote. Her fingers move slightly, like she's already working out the rhythm. Some things never change. But maybe, this time, that's not such a bad thing. Outside, I pull out my phone and call my old producer. Hey, Mike. Remember that string arrangement we did for the acoustic tour? I need the score. And I need every recording you have of classical pieces mixed with rock. Yeah, all of them. I've got some arranging to do. Maddie Fields might think she knows exactly how this concert should go. But I'm about to remind her that the best music happens when you color outside the lines.
Chapter 3. Maddie. Okay, everyone, from measure 36, my pencil hovers in the air as Alex strolls in, 15 minutes late, carrying not only his guitar but an entire stack of rearranged sheet music. Sorry, Fields. He grins at the students, who've completely forgotten their positions. Traffic was brutal. All 3 cars at the stoplight. I grip my makeshift baton tighter. We were about to. Hey, Katie. He drops his guitar case and heads straight for the drum set. I've got something for that solo of yours. Mind if I show you? Katie lights up like Christmas came early. Really? Alex. I try to keep my voice level. We have a rehearsal schedule to follow. He's already pulling out drumsticks, demonstrating a complex rhythm that definitely isn't in the original score. See, if you add this fill here, then let it build naturally. Katie copies him, stumbling at first but quickly catching on. The other students lean forward in their chairs, instruments forgotten, as Alex guides her through the new arrangement. Now try it with the backing track. He pulls out his phone, and suddenly the room fills with a professionally recorded string arrangement that somehow weaves perfectly around Katie's original solo. Mr. Whitaker? Tyler raises his hand tentatively. Could the trumpet part change too? The trumpet part is fine as written, I interject, but Alex is already headed toward the brass section. What if we tried something like this? He hums a melody that makes Tyler's eyes widen. Keep that solid foundation Maddie taught you, but let it soar a little more on the bridge. I should stop this. Should insist on following the carefully planned rehearsal schedule sitting on my podium. But watching Tyler play the new phrase, seeing the way his shoulders relax and his confidence grows. It reminds me of something I've been trying to forget. Music isn't just notes on a page. Miss Fields? Sarah waves her bow from the string section. Could we try it all together? Please? 23 hopeful faces turn toward me. Even my most disciplined students seem caught up in Alex's infectious energy. Fine. I lift my pencil, ignoring Alex's triumphant smile. From the top. Katie, start with the original version, then we'll try the alterations. But Katie's already launching into the new rhythm, and the rest of the band follows her lead. The music swells, familiar and strange all at once. Where my arrangement was precise, controlled, this version breathes. Lives. By the time Tyler's trumpet soars into that new bridge, even I have to admit there's something magical happening. Alex catches my eye across the room. He's not smiling now, just watching. Waiting. Again, I say when they finish. But this time, watch your dynamics in measure 42. Just because it's different doesn't mean it can't be precise. There's the Maddie I remember. Alex's voice is soft, meant just for me as he passes the podium. Always finding the perfect balance. I haven't found anything yet. But I'm already marking notes on the score, my pencil moving almost of its own accord. And you're still rushing the tempo. His laugh carries across the room, and to my surprise, I find myself fighting back a smile. The students launch into the piece again, and this time I let myself really listen. To the way Katie's new fills create energy without losing control. To how Tyler's soaring notes somehow make the whole piece feel more grounded, not less. Okay, I admit during a water break, while the students cluster around Alex asking questions about his touring experiences. Your arrangement isn't completely terrible. High praise from Maddie Fields. He bumps his shoulder against mine, a gesture so familiar it aches. Wait until you hear what I'm thinking for the finale. I groan, but there's no real frustration behind it. One arrangement at a time, Rockstar. Some of us still believe in proper planning. And some of us believe in magic. He winks, already heading back to demonstrate something new to the percussion section. Looking at my students' excited faces, the way they're attacking these new challenges with such joy, I'm starting to wonder if maybe there's room for both. I find Alex sitting at the piano after everyone leaves, picking out a melody with one finger. The same one he used to play during lunch breaks, back when we were both just kids with dreams too big for a small town. Pretty sure that's not how Beethoven intended it, I say, setting my bag on a nearby chair. Pretty sure Beethoven never played on a piano with a sticky G key. He hits the offending note repeatedly. Some things never change. I've requested a new one 3 times. I lean against the piano, watching his fingers move across the keys. Budget cuts. That's why you need this concert to work. It's not a question. He shifts on the bench, making room for me. After a moment's hesitation, I sit. Do you remember Mrs. Harrison's spring showcase? Junior year? His hand's still on the keys. The one where I ruined your perfect Mozart piece? The one where you showed me music could be more than just following rules. The admission costs me something, but his surprised look makes it worth it. I was so angry at first. I'd practiced that piece for months, had every note perfectly memorized. Then you came in with your guitar and transformed it. Into a travesty, according to you at the time. Into something alive. I touched the sticky G key gently. That's why I became a teacher, you know. I wanted to help kids find that balance between discipline and creativity. Between structure and soul. He's quiet for a long moment. When he speaks, his voice is different. Softer. I didn't think anyone noticed me back then. Just the weird kid who spent lunches in the music room, trying to turn classical pieces into rock songs. I noticed. The words slip out before I can stop them. Every day, you'd come in here and play like music was the only thing that mattered. Like you were having a conversation no one else could hear. His fingers find the melody again, but this time he adds chords with his left hand. The familiar tune transforms, becoming something richer. Deeper. I was writing about you, he says suddenly. Back then. All those songs were about the girl who played everything perfectly, who I thought would never understand why I needed to break all the rules. My heart stutters. Alex. But I was wrong, wasn't I? He turns to face me, close enough that I can see the flecks of gray in his blue eyes. You understood. You just showed it differently. Through structure, I say softly. Through passion, he corrects. You think I didn't see how much you cared? How every piece had to be perfect because the music deserved nothing less. The evening light streams through the high windows, turning dust motes into gold. Like that afternoon 15 years ago, when he turned my Mozart into magic. Maybe, I say carefully, we were both right. In our own ways. His shoulder brushes mine as he plays another chord. So what do you say, Fields? Ready to find that balance again? I reach over and play the melody line, my right hand moving in counterpoint to his left. The sticky G key protests, but somehow it adds character to the phrase. I'm not abandoning my rehearsal schedule, I warn him. His laugh fills the room like music. Wouldn't dream of it. But maybe we can pencil in some time for magic. Magic, I repeat, rolling my eyes. But I'm smiling as our hands move across the keys, creating something that's neither classical nor rock, neither perfectly structured nor completely free. Something that's purely us.
Chapter 4. Alex. I balance my guitar across my knees, scanning the faces of Maddie's students scattered around the rehearsal room floor. Music theory's important, I tell them, catching Katie's eye as she fidgets with her drumsticks. But sometimes you need to forget everything you know and feel it. Mr. Whitaker? Tyler raises his hand. Is that how you write songs? Call me Alex. I glance toward the door where Maddie leans against the frame, arms crossed but expression softer than usual. And yeah, sometimes a song starts with a feeling, or a moment, or I strum a chord, letting it ring. Or someone who makes you see music differently. From the doorway, Maddie's eyebrow lifts slightly. Like this. I launch into the opening riff of my first hit single. The kids lean forward, recognition lighting their faces. This started as a classical piece. Bach, actually. But I kept hearing it different in my head, kept thinking about this girl who played everything exactly as written, and how sometimes the most beautiful music comes from breaking the rules. Maddie pushes off the doorframe, walking into the room. Instead of correcting me or insisting we return to the scheduled practice, she sits at the piano. Show them, she says quietly. I miss a note. What? Show them how you transformed it. Her fingers find the original Bach melody, playing it with textbook precision. But there's something else there now. There's a slight swing to the rhythm, a subtle freedom I've never heard in her playing before. The kids watch, wide-eyed, as I layer my rock interpretation over her classical foundation. We've never played this together before, never even discussed it. But somehow it works. Her structure supports my improvisation, her precision makes my wild run soar instead of stumble. See? I tell the students without taking my eyes off Maddie's hands moving across the keys. Sometimes the best music happens when different styles come together. When you respect the foundation but aren't afraid to build something new on top of it. Can we try that with our pieces? Sarah asks, already pulling out her cello. Ask your teacher, I say, but Maddie's already nodding. Get your instruments. She catches my eye, a challenge in her smile. Let's see what happens when we color outside the lines. A little. For the next hour, the room fills with experimental sounds as students test their boundaries. Tyler discovers his trumpet can bend notes in ways he never imagined. Katie finds a way to incorporate complex rhythms while maintaining the piece's essential structure. Even the string section loosens up, adding subtle slides and grace notes that make the music breathe. Through it all, Maddie moves among them, offering technical corrections that somehow enhance the creativity instead of stifling it. She's still precise, still attentive to every detail, but there's a new flexibility to her teaching that catches me off guard. You're staring, she murmurs as she passes my chair. You're surprising me. I pitch my voice low enough that only she can hear. The Maddie Fields I remember would never encourage improvisation. Maybe you didn't know me as well as you thought. She pauses, watching Katie experiment with a particularly complex fill. Or maybe some of us learn that perfection isn't everything. From who? I ask, genuinely curious. Her eyes meet mine, holding memories of after-school practices and lunch break rebellions. From a weird kid who spent his lunches in the music room, turning Bach into rock songs. Before I can respond, she's moved on to help Sarah with a tricky passage. But something has shifted in the room. In her, in me, in the space between us where music has always lived. Later, as the kids pack up their instruments, Tyler hangs back. That song you played, he says, clutching his trumpet case. The one that started as Bach? I always thought it was just about, being different. Being yourself. That's part of it. But it was about Miss Fields, wasn't it? His perceptiveness startles me. The way she plays everything perfect, but also the way she makes everyone else better? I watch Maddie arrange music stands with mathematical precision, humming what sounds suspiciously like one of my songs. Yeah, I say softly. That's exactly what it was about. The community center is quiet this late, our footsteps echoing in the empty hallway. Maddie spreads the concert program across the conference room table, each page aligned with mathematical precision. The table's scratched surface has seen better days, but the renovation budget prioritized the new performance space over office furniture. I still think we should move Katie's solo to the second half, I say, leaning over her shoulder. The scent of her floral shampoo makes it hard to focus on the paper. After the string quartet? She taps her pencil against the table, our shoulders brushing. That could work. Build the energy before your closing number. Our closing number. She looks up, startled by my correction or our proximity. Maybe both. Right. Our arrangement. The word hangs between us, heavy with double meaning. I step back, needing space to think clearly. You know why I came back to Juniper Falls? To escape the spotlight? Her voice is gentle, knowing. To remember who I was before it. I drop into a chair, running a hand through my hair. Every song on my last album hit the charts. Sold out world tour. Grammy nominations. And the whole time, I felt like I was playing someone else's music. Maddie sits beside me, close enough that our knees almost touch. What changed? I did. The admission feels raw, honest in a way I haven't been in years. Started writing what would sell instead of what mattered. Started performing instead of playing. And now? Now. I gesture to the program, to the ambitious arrangements we've created together. Now I'm sitting in a small-town community center at 9 p.m., arguing about song order with the woman who once told me I was ruining Mozart. Her laugh is soft, musical. To be fair, you were. I was improving it. You were. She pauses, choosing her words carefully. You were showing me that music could be more than one thing. That it could be structured and wild, planned and spontaneous. Like us? The words slip out before I can stop them. The air changes, becomes charged with something that's been building since that first rehearsal. Maddie's eyes meet mine, and for a moment, I see past the careful teacher to the girl who used to watch me play during lunch breaks, who understood my need to break free better than anyone. Alex. My name on her lips sounds like music. What are we doing? Right now? Planning a concert. I reach for her hand where it rests on the table. Her fingers are cool against mine, familiar despite the years between then and now. But I'm starting to think it might be about more than that. She doesn't pull away. The students are thriving. Because of you. Because you were willing to bend when I pushed. Because you reminded me why I fell in love with music in the first place. Her thumb traces circles on my palm, sending electricity up my arm. Why I used to sneak into the auditorium during lunch to hear you play. The confession hangs in the air between us. You never told me that. You never asked. She looks down at our joined hands. You were always so sure about your music, about your path. Even back then. I wasn't certain about anything except that I wanted you to notice me. The truth feels easier in this quiet room, with the concert program spread before us like a map to somewhere we've both been trying to find. Every classical piece I transformed, every rule I broke was to make you look up from your perfectly arranged sheet music and really see me. I saw you. Her voice catches. I see you now. The distance between us shrinks, the air heavy with possibility. Her free hand comes up to rest against my chest, right over my heartbeat that's keeping time like a metronome. A door slams somewhere in the building, breaking the moment. Maddie pulls back. We should finish the program, she says, but her voice has lost its professional edge. Yeah. I don't move away. We should.
Chapter 5. Maddie. The old piano in the community center's practice room has seen better days, but Alex somehow makes it sound like a concert grand. His fingers drift over the keys as we take a break from setlist planning, playing fragments of melodies that stir up memories I thought I'd packed away years ago. Remember the time you tried to teach me improvisation? I perch on the edge of the piano bench, watching his hands move. Right before the spring showcase? You mean the time you nearly had an anxiety attack because I suggested playing without sheet music? His shoulder brushes mine as he shifts to make room. Yeah, that was a disaster. I wasn't that bad. He shoots me a look. You made a spreadsheet of acceptable improvisation patterns. It was a framework for creative expression. But I'm laughing, the sound mixing with the melody he's playing. Not all of us could feel it, like you did. His fingers still on the keys. Is that what you thought? That it came naturally? Didn't it? You'd sit down and play, and somehow everything you touched turned into magic. Maddie. Something in his voice makes me turn to face him. I practiced every lunch break for 3 years. Trying to get good enough that you might. Might what? He starts playing again, softer now. It takes me a moment to recognize the piece. It's Mozart's Sonata in C major, the one I performed at the showcase. But he's changed it, turning the strict classical structure into something that breathes and flows like water. I wanted to impress you, he admits quietly. The perfect Maddie Fields, who never missed a note, who made music look as natural as breathing. Who probably never noticed the guy who mangled classical pieces trying to get her attention. I noticed. The confession slips out before I can stop it. Every day, I'd hear you in here, taking these pieces I'd spent years perfecting and turning them into something free. Something that made people feel. Your playing made people feel. My playing made people appreciate technique. I reach out, adding a harmony line to his melody. Our hands move together across the keys, his improvisation weaving through my structured counterpoint. Yours made them dream. The music shifts, becomes something neither classical nor rock. Something uniquely us. Alex's knee presses against mine as he leans into a complicated run of notes, and I find myself swaying toward him, drawn by the gravity of memory and music and possibility. You know what I really remember about high school? He asks, never stopping his playing. What? The way you looked when you performed. Like nothing existed except you and the music. I used to watch you practice after school. You did? He nods, a smile playing at the corners of his mouth. You'd get this little crease between your eyebrows when you were concentrating. Just like you have now. I touch my forehead self-consciously, and he laughs. It's cute, he says. Always was. The word cute shouldn't affect me at 29 the way it did at 16, but heat rises in my cheeks anyway. I'd watch you, I admit. Through the auditorium windows during lunch. You'd get so lost in whatever you were playing. It was like seeing someone speak another language. One I wanted to understand. His playing slows, the melody becoming more introspective. And now? I watch our hands move together across the keys, his spontaneity complementing my precision in ways I never thought possible. Now I think maybe we were speaking the same language all along. Just with different accents. He turns to look at me, and suddenly I'm aware of how close we are. Sharing a piano bench like we used to years ago, but everything feels different now. Charged with possibility and history and things we never said. Maddie. His voice is soft, musical. He reaches up, tucking a strand of hair behind my ear. His fingers linger against my cheek, and my breath catches. We should probably finish the set list. Probably, I agree, but neither of us moves. The piano sits silent now, but the air hums with unplayed melodies. A door slams somewhere in the building, making us both jump. Reality crashes back in. Right. I stand up too quickly, nearly knocking over my folder of carefully organized notes. The set list. And we need to figure out the lighting cues for Katie's solo. And the staging for the finale. Alex catches my folder before it falls, his hands brushing mine. That simple touch shouldn't send electricity up my arm, shouldn't make my heart race like I'm 16 again. But it does. You've still got it, you know, he says as we head back to the conference room. What? That little crease. He taps his own forehead, grinning. Still cute. I swat his arm with my folder, ignoring the warmth in my chest. Just for that, I'm voting to keep the original arrangement for the opening number. His laugh echoes down the hallway, rich and genuine in a way his stage laugh never is. No, you won't. You like my version better. The crickets are out in force tonight, their symphony accompanying our walk down Maple Street. Every few steps, our shoulders brush, sending little sparks of awareness through me. The late spring air is heavy with the scent of blooming dogwoods. The same trees that lined my walk home from school 15 years ago. You don't have to walk me home, I say for the third time. I've been managing just fine for years. Maybe I'm not ready for the evening to end. Alex's voice is soft, honest in a way that makes my heart stumble. I like watching you try not to smile every time I suggest a new arrangement. I do not, but I'm smiling now, proving his point. There it is. He stops walking, turning to face me under the glow of an antique street lamp. That's the smile I used to look for during symphony practice. The one that meant you didn't hate my ideas completely. I never hated your ideas. The admission feels bigger than it should. I just needed to control everything? His eyes crinkle at the corners. Color inside all the lines? Says the man who turned Mozart into heavy metal. Alternative rock, he corrects, stepping closer. And Mozart would have loved it. The street lamp cast shadows across his face, reminding me of all the times I watched him perform on stage through my laptop screen. But this Alex, the one looking at me like I'm a song he's trying to remember, feels more real than any of those polished performances. You're doing it again, he murmurs. What? Thinking too much. His hand comes up to cup my cheek, and suddenly I can't think at all. Always analyzing, always planning 10 steps ahead. Someone has to, I whisper, but the words lack conviction. Not right now. And then he's kissing me, soft and sure, like he's been writing this melody for years and finally found the right moment to play it. For a heartbeat, I let myself get lost in it. In the way his other hand slides into my hair, in how he tastes like coffee and possibilities. In the perfect harmony of this moment that I definitely didn't plan for. But then reality crashes in like a cymbal crash in a quiet movement. I pull back, my hands pressed against his chest. His heart races under my palm, keeping time with mine. Maddie. This isn't. I step away, needing distance to think clearly. You're leaving after the concert. Back to studios and touring and Grammy nominations. That's not. And I'll still be here. The words taste bitter, too close to old insecurities about never being enough. Teaching scales to middle schoolers and organizing fundraisers and being exactly what you ran away from. Is that what you think? He reaches for me, but I take another step back. That I ran away from this? From you? Didn't you? The question comes out sharper than I intended. You had bigger dreams than this town could hold. Than I could hold. Maddie. My name in his voice sounds like a song I'm not ready to hear. You have no idea what my dreams were. Are. But I'm already retreating, wrapping my arms around myself like armor. I should go in. Early rehearsal tomorrow. Don't do this. He runs a hand through his hair, a gesture so familiar it aches. Don't hide behind schedules and responsibilities just because you're scared. I'm not scared. The lie sits heavy on my tongue. I'm practical. This, I gesture between us, this isn't practical. You'll go back to your world, and I'll stay in mine, and we'll both pretend this was a nice nostalgic moment in your small town sabbatical. Is that all this is to you? Nostalgia? The hurt in his voice makes me want to take it all back. To step forward and kiss him again, to let myself believe in the magic he's always represented. But I've spent too many years building walls around my heart with precise, careful measurements. Good night, Alex. I turn toward my front door, each step feeling heavier than the last. You're wrong, you know. His voice stops me with my key in the lock. About what I ran from. About what I'm looking for. I don't turn around. Can't. Am I? Yeah. I hear him step closer, feel the warmth of him just behind me. Because everything I've been missing? Everything that made music matter? It's been right here all along. In this town. In that classroom. In you. The key shakes in my hand. Alex. Think about that while you're planning tomorrow's rehearsal. His footsteps retreat down the walkway, leaving me with a heart that's playing in double time and a head full of melodies I'm afraid to finish. Inside, I lean against the closed door, touching my lips where I can still feel his kiss. On my coffee table, the concert program sits perfectly arranged, every detail planned and controlled. But for the first time in years, I wonder if maybe some songs are better left unscripted.
Chapter 6. Alex. I never meant to eavesdrop. The door to the music room is cracked open when I arrive early for rehearsal. A first, but I won't tell Maddie that. Her voice stops me before I can push it wide. It's not like that, Claire. Maddie's tone carries that familiar tension, the one she gets when she's trying to maintain control. Alex and I are working together on the concert. That's all. Really? Her sister's voice drips with skepticism. Because Maggie at Novel Sip saw you two looking pretty cozy at the community center last night. I lean against the wall, knowing I should walk away but unable to move. Through the gap, I see Maddie organizing sheet music with mechanical precision, each movement slightly too controlled. We were arranging pieces for the concert. She straightens an already straight stack. That's all. Maddie. Claire's sigh fills the room. You've had that look in your eyes before. Senior year, watching him practice during lunch? The same look you had when his first album dropped. I didn't. You bought tickets to 3 of his shows last year. Shows you never attended. My heart stutters. I didn't know that. Because something always came up, Maddie says quickly. Budget meetings. Student recitals. Because you were scared. Claire's voice softens. And now he's here, turning your perfectly planned concert upside down, making you feel things you thought you'd filed away in one of your color-coded folders. He's leading after the concert. Maddie's voice catches slightly. Back to recording studios and world tours and you think you're not enough to make him stay? The question hits me like a physical blow. Through the gap, I watch Maddie's hands still on the sheet music. It's not about being enough. But her voice wavers. He's Alex Whitaker. He has platinum records and Grammy nominations and millions of fans. And I'm the girl who makes spreadsheets for improvisation and prints out rehearsal schedules. The girl he wrote songs about? My breath catches. How did Claire know? That was years ago. Maddie moves to the piano, running her fingers over the keys without pressing them. We were different people then. Were you? Claire challenges. Because from where I'm standing, he's still the guy who breaks all your careful rules, and you're still the girl who pretends not to watch him when he plays. It doesn't matter. Maddie presses a single key, letting the note hang in the air. He's not staying, Claire. This is a break for him. A chance to remember where he came from before he goes back to where he belongs. And where exactly is that? I find myself holding my breath, waiting for Maddie's answer. Anywhere but here. She closes the piano lid with a soft thud. He's never belonged here. Not really. That's why he left in the first place. The words echo in my chest, mixing uncomfortably with memories of packed arenas and empty hotel rooms. Of playing songs that topped charts but somehow stopped meaning anything. Of coming back to Juniper Falls looking for something. Something I thought I'd found in the way Maddie's eyes light up when the students nail a difficult passage, and how she hums under her breath when she's marking scores, in the way she kisses like she's finally letting go of control. Maybe you should ask him what he wants, Claire suggests. Instead of deciding for him. What he wants. Maddie's laugh lacks humor. He wants to help with the concert because he feels guilty about leaving. He wants to recapture something he thinks he lost. But when the concert's over, she shakes her head. I can't be someone's small-town nostalgia trip, Claire. Maddie. I have a rehearsal to prepare for. The finality in her tone is familiar. It's the same way she ends discussions about tempo changes or arrangement adjustments. I step back from the door, my thoughts a jumble of unfinished melodies. She's right about one thing. I did come back looking to recapture something. But she's wrong about what that something is. The problem is, I'm not sure I know either. My phone buzzes in my pocket. Marcus, probably with another plea about the tour, about obligations and contracts and everything I ran from. Everything waiting for me after the concert. Through the door, I hear Maddie beginning her usual warm-up routine, precise and measured. Everything I'm not. Everything I've never been able to be. Maybe that's the real problem. Maybe some songs aren't meant to be more than beautiful moments, played once and left behind. Even if they're the only ones that ever felt real. I check my phone. Sure enough, the message is from Marcus. Label needs an answer about the tour by Friday. Time to stop playing small town hero and get back to reality. Reality. As if packed arenas and processed vocals are more real than Katie's determination to nail that drum solo, or Tyler's trumpet soaring over our new arrangement, or the way Maddie's careful walls crack just a little when the music takes over. As if anything has ever felt more real than the way she kissed me back last night, like she was finally letting herself play without a score. The first students begin arriving, instruments in hand, and I paste on my stage smile. Time to be Alex Whitaker, Rockstar turned hometown hero. Time to pretend I'm not wondering if I've been playing the wrong song all along. Okay, everyone. Let's take it from measure 48. Maddie raises her baton, every movement precise. Remember to watch your dynamics. Or we could let them actually feel the music, I interrupt, the words sharp with my own confusion and doubt. Instead of counting every beat like robots. The students freeze. Katie's drumsticks hover midair, and Tyler's trumpet lowers slowly. Maddie's baton stills. Excuse me? I shouldn't continue. But the weight of Marcus's messages, Claire's words, and my own uncertainties pushes me forward. You're so focused on perfect technique that you're killing their creativity. Music isn't just about following rules. And it's not just about doing whatever feels good in the moment. Her voice carries that careful control that suddenly drives me crazy. These students need structure. These students need freedom to express themselves. I stand, my guitar strap sliding off my shoulder. But I guess that's hard to understand when you're too scared to color outside the lines. The room goes silent. Even the ever-present hum of the air conditioning seems to hold its breath. Mr. Whitaker, Maddie says, teacher voice firmly in place. Maybe we should discuss this after rehearsal. Why? Afraid to have an honest conversation that isn't perfectly scheduled? The words taste bitter, but I can't stop. Afraid to admit that not everything fits into your neat little boxes? Color rises in her cheeks. Students, she says without looking away from me, please take 5 minutes. They don't need to be told twice. The room empties with remarkable speed, leaving us alone with the echoes of words we can't take back. What are you doing, Alex? Teaching them that music is more than metronomes and measure numbers. But even I hear the hollowness in my voice. That sometimes you have to take risks. Like you do? Her careful control cracks. Flying in here, turning everything upside down, making promises you won't be around to keep? At least I'm honest about who I am. The words hit harder than intended. I'm not hiding behind lesson plans and perfectly arranged sheet music because I'm too scared to feel anything real. Real? She laughs, but it sounds more like pain. You want to talk about real? How about the fact that you're sabotaging this rehearsal because you're scared of actually connecting with something? Someone? I'm not the one who keeps running away. But even as I say it, I know it's a lie. No? Her eyes shine with unshed tears. Then why did you really come back to Juniper Falls, Alex? Because from where I'm standing, you're just using this concert, using these kids, using me, as some kind of small-town redemption tour before you go back to your real life. The truth in her words stings. That's not. Save it. She turns away, straightening papers that don't need straightening. Go back to your world tours and Grammy nominations. These kids deserve better than a temporary hero who'll disappear as soon as things get too real. Maddie. Go! Her voice breaks on the words. You're good at that, remember? I grab my guitar case, anger and hurt and something deeper tangling in my chest. At the door, I stop. You know what your problem is, Maddie? You're so afraid of people leaving that you push them away first. But at least I'm honest about my escape plans. You just hide behind that podium and pretend you're not running too. The sound of sheet music hitting the floor follows me out. In the hallway, I catch glimpses of worried student faces peering around corners. Katie clutches her drumsticks like a lifeline. Tyler won't meet my eyes. I've handled platinum records with more care than I just handled Maddie's heart. Outside, I pull out my phone and dial Marcus. Book the tour, I say before he can speak. I'm done playing small town hero.
Chapter 7. Maddie. Through the window of Hazel's kitchen, I see her carefully tended garden, spring flowers bobbing in the late afternoon breeze. The familiar scent of Earl Grey fills the air, but for once, even tea can't settle my nerves. He's leaving. I trace the rim of my cup, watching ripples form in the amber liquid. Going back on tour. Is he? Hazel sets a plate of ginger snaps between us. It holds the same cookies she used to serve when I came to her after school, wrestling with music theory and teenage dreams. Or is that what you're afraid of? It's not fear. I struggle to find the right words, the right rhythm for this particular piece. It's reality. Alex Whitaker doesn't belong in Juniper Falls. He never did. Hazel sits across from me, her knowing eyes seeing too much. Is that why you're sitting in my kitchen instead of running your rehearsal? Rehearsal's cancelled. The words taste bitter. Creative differences. With Alex? With his ego. But even as I say it, I know it's not true. The fight replays in my mind. His accusations about control, my fears about temporary heroes. He said I was too scared to feel anything real. That I hide behind structure because I'm afraid. And are you? I'm a teacher. I straighten my shoulders. I have responsibilities. 23 students counting on this concert to fund their program. I can't just throw away everything we've worked for because Alex Whitaker decided to play hometown hero for a few weeks. Those students? Hazel's voice gentles. They're thriving. I was at rehearsal last week. I saw how Katie's confidence has grown, how Tyler plays with his heart now, not just his technique. Because of Alex, I whisper. Because of both of you. She reaches across the table, covering my hand with hers. You gave them the foundation. He showed them how to soar. Together, you created something magical. Magic doesn't pay for instrument repairs or sheet music or. Stop hiding behind budgets, dear. The gentle rebuke hits home. This isn't about funding. It's about you being afraid to admit that sometimes the best music comes from letting go of perfect control. I stare into my tea, seeing reflections of the past weeks. Alex working with Katie on her solo, patient and encouraging. The way he looked at me when we played together, like he was seeing past all my carefully constructed walls. The kiss that felt like every love song ever written. He's going to leave, I say again, softer this time. Everyone does. My sisters all moved away, chasing bigger dreams. Even Mrs. Harrison retired to Florida. I'm the one who stays. The one who keeps things running, keeps the music playing, keeps. Keeping yourself small? Hazel's question catches me off guard. Because if you never reach for more, you can't be disappointed? I'm not, but the protest dies on my lips. You know what I see? She squeezes my hand. I see a talented musician who taught herself to be satisfied with conducting rather than performing. A beautiful young woman who convinced herself that being reliable meant never taking risks. A heart that's so afraid of being overlooked that it forgets to look up and see who's watching. Alex watches, I admit quietly. Even back in high school, he saw me. Really saw me. Not just the perfect student or the responsible sister. Or the small-town music teacher? Hazel's smile is knowing. Maybe that's what scares you most. Not that he'll leave, but that he sees exactly who you are and wants you anyway. The truth of her words hits like a perfect cadence. What if I'm not enough to make him stay? Oh, dear. Hazel stands, moving to the window where spring flowers dance in the breeze. What if you are? What if all those dreams you tucked away, all that music you keep locked inside, is exactly what he's been looking for? What if running away isn't just about leaving a place? What if it's about running from who you really are? I know who I am. Do you? She turns back to me. Because the Maddie Fields I know doesn't give up on her students. Doesn't walk away from a concert they need. And doesn't let fear of being hurt stop her from fighting for what matters. I think of Katie's face when Alex stormed out. Of Tyler's slumped shoulders. Of all the dreams wrapped up in this concert that somehow become about so much more than funding. I don't know how to fix this, I admit. Yes, you do. Hazel's eyes twinkle. Music has always been your language. Maybe it's time to stop conducting and start playing again. To show him, and yourself, what happens when structure and passion work together instead of fighting each other. The beginnings of an idea form in my mind, like the first notes of a new composition. The arrangement we were working on. For the finale? Hazel nods encouragingly. It's not finished. I stand, energy suddenly coursing through me. But maybe that's the point. Maybe some songs need two people to complete them. Now that sounds like the Maddie Fields I remember. Hazel presses a tin of cookies into my hands. The one who used to sneak into the auditorium to watch a certain young man turn classical pieces into rock songs. I never told anyone about that. You didn't have to, dear. She shepherds me toward the door. Some music speaks for itself. I pace outside Alex's rental for 10 minutes before working up the courage to knock. The late afternoon sun turns the lake to gold, reminding me of all those evenings watching him play through the auditorium windows, too scared to go in. Not this time. He opens on the second knock, guitar in hand, looking rumpled and surprised and exactly like the boy who used to turn Bach into rock ballads. Maddie? I brought cookies. I hold up Hazel's tin like a peace offering. And an apology. Several, actually. Something flickers in his eyes. You don't. I do. Taking a deep breath, I step onto the porch. Can we talk? Really talk, without hiding behind teaching styles or concert logistics. Or all the walls I've gotten so good at building? He studies me for a long moment, then steps back, making room. Come in. Inside, sheet music covers every surface. Mostly handwritten scores filled with his messy notations. I recognize our finale arrangement, unfinished but beautiful in its possibility. I was wrong, I say before I lose my nerve. About you using the concert as an escape. About you not taking it seriously. Maddie. Please, let me finish. I set the cookie tin down, needing my hands free to gesture, to emphasize, to reach for the truth. You've always seen music differently than I do. Back in high school, watching you play made me question everything I thought I knew about music. About myself. He leans against the piano, his expression unreadable. I thought you hated the way I played. I was scared of it. The admission costs me something, but his softening expression makes it worth it. Scared of how it made me feel. How it made me want to break free of all the rules I'd built my life around. And now? Now? I move closer, drawn by the familiar scent of coffee and guitar strings. Now I think maybe we need both. Structure and freedom. Classical and rock. Your passion and my precision. Like that Mozart piece, he says quietly. Junior year. You turned it into something magical. I'm close enough now to see the flecks of gray in his blue eyes. Everyone said you ruined it, but you didn't. You made it live and breathe in a way I never could. That's not true. His hand comes up, tucking a strand of hair behind my ear. Your playing was beautiful. Perfect. I just wanted to show you that perfect doesn't always mean rigid. I know that now. I catch his hand before he can pull away. These past weeks, I've watched you with the students. You've shown them, and me, that music is more than just notes on a page. It's heart and soul and taking chances. Like this chance? His thumb traces circles on my palm, sending shivers up my arm. I'm sorry I pushed you away. The words tumble out. I was so scared of being left behind that I never gave you a real chance. Or us. I'm sorry too. He pulls me closer until I can feel his heartbeat under my palm. For running away. For letting fear of not being enough make me hurt the one person who always believed in me. Even when I didn't deserve it. You deserved it. I look up at him, letting him see the truth in my eyes. Every time you played, every song you wrote, you reminded me why I fell in love with music in the first place. Why I became a teacher. And now? His voice roughens. What do I remind you of now? That sometimes the best songs are the ones we don't plan. I reach for the unfinished arrangement on the piano. The ones that surprise us. He follows my gaze to the music, understanding dawning. The finale isn't done. No. I smile. Maybe that's because it needs both of us. Your heart, my structure. Your freedom, my foundation. Like us? Like us. His hands frame my face, calloused fingertips gentle against my skin. For a heartbeat, he just looks at me, his eyes darkening like storm clouds gathering. Then he closes the distance between us, and the first brush of his lips against mine is soft as a whisper. When I sigh into the kiss, his hands slide into my hair, drawing me closer. He tastes like coffee and ginger snaps, and underneath, something uniquely Alex. The familiar scent of guitar strings and worn leather envelopes me as the kiss deepens, becoming something short and steady and absolutely right, like finding the perfect tempo in a piece you played 1,000 times before. When we part, he rests his forehead against mine. Stay, I whisper. Not because I need you to, but because the music's better when we play it together. The tour. He hesitates. We'll still be there. I pull back enough to meet his eyes. But maybe you don't have to choose. Maybe there's a way to have both. The big stages and the small victories. The world tours and the student concerts. The rockstar and the music teacher? His smile holds hope and possibility. If you want. He answers by pulling me back in, kissing me like a love song finally finding its bridge. When we break apart, he reaches for his guitar. Help me finish this? He nods toward the arrangement. Show me how to make it perfect without losing its soul? I sit beside him, our shoulders touching, and place my hands on the keys. Only if you show me how to let it soar without losing its foundation. Together, we begin to play, creating something neither classical nor rock, neither completely planned nor totally free. Something uniquely us. Something worth staying for.
Chapter 8. Alex. From my spot in the wings, I watch Maddie work her magic. She moves through the organized chaos backstage like she was born for this. She's adjusting Tyler's bow tie, checking Katie's drum setup one last time, and somehow managing to be everywhere at once while making it look effortless. Remember to breathe, she tells the strings section, demonstrating with an exaggerated inhale that makes them giggle. The music knows what to do. Let it flow through you. I smile, remembering how she used to say the exact opposite. Structure. Control. Perfect technique. But watching her now, I see what I missed before. She hasn't abandoned those principles. She's transformed them into something stronger. Something that supports rather than restricts. Katie paces near the curtain, drumsticks tapping against her leg in an anxious rhythm. Before I move, Maddie's there. Hey. She catches Katie's hands gently. Remember what we talked about? That nervous energy? Channel it into the music. Let it fuel you, not fight you. The words sound suspiciously like something I would say. When Maddie catches my eye, her smile confirms it. 5 minutes, someone calls, and the energy backstage shifts, crystallizes. Maddie gathers the students in a circle. It's a pre-show tradition I've come to love during our rehearsals. Look around, she tells them. Remember this moment. Remember how far you've come, how hard you've worked. Remember that music isn't just about perfect notes. She glances at me. It's about perfect moments. About hearts beating in time and souls soaring together. My chest tightens. This woman, who once stuck so tightly to structure and sheet music, is teaching kids that music lives in the spaces between the notes. And somehow, watching her, I finally understand what I've been looking for all these years on the road. The first half of the concert flows like a dream. I watch from backstage as Maddie conducts, her movements graceful and sure. The students respond to her like flowers turning toward the sun, growing stronger with each measure. When Katie's drum solo arrives, it brings the house down. Technical precision merges with raw passion in a way that makes my heart swell with pride. Then it's my turn. The spotlight finds me as I walk to center stage, guitar in hand. The familiar rush of performing washes over me, but it feels different here. More real somehow. Before I play this next song, I say into the microphone, I want to tell you about a girl who used to practice Mozart in the school auditorium. In the wings, I see Maddie freeze. She played everything perfectly, I continue, finding her eyes in the darkness. Every note exactly as written. But what really caught my attention wasn't her technique. It was her passion. The way she treated each piece like it deserved nothing less than her whole heart. The audience is silent now, leaning in. I spent years trying to prove something with my music. Trying to be bigger, louder, more impressive. But coming back here, watching her teach. My voice roughens with emotion. Watching Maddie Fields show these incredible students that music is both discipline and freedom, both structure and soul. It reminded me of something I'd forgotten. Something about why I fell in love with music in the first place. Maddie's hands press against her heart, and even in the dim light, I can see tears shining in her eyes. So this song is for her. For the girl who once told me I was ruining Mozart, and then taught me that sometimes the best music comes from breaking rules and keeping faith at the same time. For the woman who believes in these students so completely that they can't help but believe in themselves. I start to play. It's not one of my hits, but a new arrangement. The melody I wrote that first day watching her rehearsal, woven through with themes from that Mozart piece from high school. Classical structure supporting rock emotion, precision and passion dancing together like they were always meant to be one song. As I play, I watch Maddie in the wings. Watch her recognize the melodies, understand their meaning. Watch the moment she realizes that every song I've written since high school has been, in some way, about her. About the girl who played everything perfectly but somehow made me want to be better, try harder, dig deeper. The song ends, and the audience erupts. But I'm not watching them. I'm watching Maddie wipe tears from her cheeks, watching her mouth the words thank you, watching her beam with pride as Katie runs up to hug her before the next number. And I know, with absolute certainty, that this is where the music was always leading me. Back to this stage, this town, this woman who turned structure into strength and rules into wings. Back home. The last program rustles across the empty community hall, caught in the drift from the air conditioning. Everyone's gone. The proud parents, the exhausted but happy students, even Hazel, who winked at me before making what had to be the least subtle exit in matchmaking history. Everyone except Maddie. She stands at her conductor's podium, fingers trailing over the marked-up score of our finale. The stage lights catch the gold in her hair, and my heart does that familiar skip beat that's been happening since high school. Hey! My voice echoes slightly in the empty hall. She looks up, and the smile that breaks across her face steals my breath. Hey yourself, Rockstar. About what I said during the show. I move closer, weaving between scattered chairs. When you told the whole town about my Mozart obsession? But her eyes shine with unshed tears. I was terrified to come back here. The admission feels easier in this quiet space, with just the two of us and the lingering echoes of tonight's music. Thought it would show me how far I'd strayed from who I used to be. How disconnected I'd become from what mattered. And did it? She sets down the score, giving me her full attention. It showed me something else entirely. I reach her podium, close enough now to catch the subtle scent of her shampoo mixing with the paper and wood smell of sheet music. It showed me that sometimes you have to come full circle to find your way forward. Alex. I don't know what happens next, I continue, needing to get this out. The label, the tour, all of it. It's complicated. But I know one thing for sure. I take her hand, my callous fingers sliding against her pianist's hands. I don't want to leave. Not Juniper Falls, not these kids, and definitely not you. She squeezes my hand but doesn't speak. You're the first person who's ever made me want to stay still, I tell her. The first one who made me realize that maybe I've been running toward the wrong kind of music all along. What kind of music is that? Her voice wavers slightly. The kind that looks perfect on paper but doesn't mean anything. I pull her closer until we're sharing the same breath. I want the kind that lives and breathes. The kind that happens when structure meets passion. When classical meets rock. When Maddie Fields finally lets herself play without a score. A tear slips down her cheek. I'm scared, she whispers. Of what? Of believing in this. In us. In happy endings that aren't perfectly planned. Then let's write it together. I brush away her tear with my thumb. Note by note. Day by day. No rigid structure, no wild improvisation. Just us, finding our rhythm. You're mixing your musical metaphors, she says with a watery laugh. See? I need you to keep me in line. And then I'm kissing her, or maybe she's kissing me. It doesn't matter. What matters is how she melts into me, her hands sliding up my chest to tangle in my hair. What matters is the soft sound she makes when I deepen the kiss, like she's finally letting go of every careful wall she's built. What matters is how perfectly we fit together, how right this feels, like the resolution to a song I've been trying to write my whole life. When we finally part, I rest my forehead against hers. So, I murmur about next year's concert. She laughs, the sound pure joy. Already planning ahead? That doesn't sound like the Alex Whitaker I know. Maybe he's learning the value of a little structure. I kiss her again, quickly. As long as there's room for improvisation. I think we can arrange that. She steps back, lacing her fingers through mine. Speaking of arrangements, I had some thoughts about that bridge in the finale. Tomorrow, I say, tugging her toward the exit. Right now, I want to walk you home in the moonlight and kiss you on your porch like I should have done 15 years ago. The night air wraps around us as we step outside, carrying the scent of spring flowers and possibility. Above us, stars pierce the darkness like musical notes scattered across heaven's staff paper. Alex? Maddie says as we walk, her hand warm in mine. I'm glad you came home. I pull her closer, pressing a kiss to her temple. Me too. Though technically, I think I just found it. Her answering smile is brighter than any spotlight I've ever stood in, and I know with absolute certainty that this woman, this town, this perfectly imperfect love song we're writing together, is the only chart topper that matters.
Epilogue. Maddie. Juniper Falls, 3 months later. I trace my finger along the edge of my empty plate, watching the last few customers filter out of the copper kettle. The remains of Sarah's famous pot roast, Alex's favorite, sit between us, and the autumn sunset paints the windows in shades of gold and crimson. I ran into Katie today, I say, smiling at the memory. She's already working on new arrangements for next year's concert. And? Alex prompts, his eyes twinkling. And yes, you were right about teaching her those advanced rhythms. I try to hide my smile behind my water glass. She's really blooming. Did you hear that, everyone? He raises his voice slightly. Maddie Fields just admitted I was right about something. Mark the calendar. Shoo. But I'm laughing, reaching across the table to swat his arm. I take it back. Too late. He catches my hand, his thumb tracing circles on my palm, a gesture that still sends shivers up my arm. It's been witnessed. Sarah, you heard it, right? Leave me out of it, Sarah calls back, but she's grinning as she collects empty plates from a nearby table. You know, I say, studying our intertwined fingers, for someone who was so desperate to escape small-town life, you seem pretty settled here. 3 months since the concert, and you haven't once mentioned missing the spotlight. Maybe I needed to leave to appreciate coming home. His voice softens, turns serious. Or maybe I just needed the right reason to stay. Something in his tone makes me look up. The playful glint in his eyes has been replaced by something deeper, more intense. Alex? You know what I love about Juniper Falls? He rubs his thumb over my knuckles. How the whole town showed up for our concert. How Katie's mom still brings coffee to our Saturday morning rehearsals. How Tyler's dad smiles every time someone mentions his son's solo. It's a special place, I agree, my heart starting to race. But you know what I love most? With his free hand, he slides something across the table, a small velvet box that makes my breath catch. How it gave me a second chance with the girl who once told me I was ruining Mozart. Alex, I whisper, but he's not done. The girl who taught me that structure doesn't have to cage you, it can give you wings. Who showed me that sometimes the best songs are the ones we build together, note by note, day by day. My vision blurs as he opens the box, revealing a delicate ring with musical notes etched into the band. I've played in stadiums and concert halls all over the world, he continues, his voice rough with emotion. But I never felt more at home than I do right here, in this booth, watching you organize sheet music with military precision and pretending not to smile at my jokes. A tear slips down my cheek. I always smile at your jokes. I know. His own eyes shine. That's part of why I love you. You see through every stage persona, every carefully constructed wall, right to the heart of who I am. You're the melody I've been trying to write my whole life, Maddie Fields. The perfect balance of structure and soul. He slides out of his side of the booth, dropping to one knee beside me. My heart pounds out a rhythm that would make Katie's drum solo sound tame. Marry me? He takes my hand again. Be my duet partner for life? Promise to color code our future together and let me add random key changes just to keep things interesting? Through my tears, I laugh. That was at least 3 proposals. I'm covering all my bases. His smile is soft, hopeful. What do you say, Fields? Ready to make some music together? Yes, I whisper, then louder, yes. To all 3 proposals. His answering smile outshines every stage light I've ever seen him perform under. As he slips the ring onto my finger, I notice the inscription inside, Perfect Harmony. I love you, I tell him as he slides back into the booth, never letting go of my hand. Even when you ruin Mozart. Improve, he corrects, pulling me closer. I improve Mozart. And you love that too. Against his lips, I smile. Maybe. In the quiet diner, with Sarah pretending not to watch and the autumn night settling around us, Alex and I hold hands across the table, letting the moment settle around us like the final notes of a perfect song. Our song. The one we'll keep writing together, measure by measure, day by day, for the rest of our lives. The ring catches the last light of sunset, sending musical notes dancing across the table like promises made real. The end. This has been Heartstrings in Harmony. Written by Susanne Ash. Copyright 2025 by Susanne Ash. Production copyright 2025 by Susanne Ash. Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe if you want me to put more of my books on YouTube. Visit my website at www.susanneash.com for more of my books or find me on Amazon.